Okay, and I do believe we are finally live yet again. Thank you all. Thank you all for coming to join us today again for another installment, another episode of the Truth Be Bold podcast. This is episode 3, and I am your host, Musical Weapon. Thank you all for joining. Today, I'd like to once again welcome my guest panels. We have Sinseers and Walt Kart. Thank you guys for coming in. And here we go. Once again, we've gathered here today to discuss, just kind of retouch upon some of the subjects that we spoke about before. And I also like to get a fresh perspective on one subject that I did not get a chance to ask Mr. Walt. So thank you guys for coming. And why don't we just go ahead and get started? Yeah. Would you like to say hi, guys?
How you doing? Yeah, it is Walt Kart on YouTube. We'll just go with that. That's fine by me. That'll work. Still used to this
Hello,
stuff.
everybody out there in TV land.
Yeah, that part I'm not getting. I'm just used to talking to y'all. I forgot this goes out, so I gotta watch what I say. And make sure I don't call bleep. Make sure I call him sin, not bleep.
Yeah, we can edit it.
But it's one less thing for you to have to edit. I was like, dang, he editing this shit a lot, because I was, see, you got to edit already. See? All right, let's go.
As I just mentioned, we're going to touch upon some of the past stuff that we did speak about on our last session together. And we're also going to ask everyone's fresh perspective once again on the PlayStation Blackout. We're going to definitely go around the room and we'll circle back to me once it's back to me.
Yeah, y'all got to tell me about what's going on here. It's because I'm a little slow.
Yeah, Walt. Yeah, I'll explain. So, the PlayStation Blackout. This was something that was announced and orchestrated about a week, maybe a week and a half ago. So apparently, starting August the 23rd, through August the 30th, some online fanboys, pretty much they're online fanboys, they would like to orchestrate what they call is PlayStation Blackout. And what that pertains to is they plan to shut down all access to their PlayStations. They're going to power it down, from what they described. They plan to power down their consoles and not turn it on for 7 days. That includes no play sessions, no purchasing, and no logging online to the PlayStation Network, just to send a message that we will not stand for the removal of physical media with our consoles. So, yeah, that's a thing, and they plan to do that just for 7 days. And your thoughts into that? What do you think about that?
Okay, so how does this work? When you say blackout, because I'm like, because you could just unplug your stuff from the internet and be like, yeah, I participated, but still get your blood going on. So what you trying to say?
Yeah, we're gonna see just how committed these people are to this blackout. Yeah, we're all gonna find out together. I already have my thoughts, which I will share once again with this panel and everyone listening. But yes. So as a reminder as to how this all began, about close to a full month ago. Actually, I think it was a full month ago now that we're in August. A full month ago, Sony has stepped forth on a random day and has disclosed to every one of us that starting on January 2028, they plan to cease all production on physical media discs for the PlayStation. And we do suspect that may also lead into their other divisions such as films, shows, and music as well. No printed media for those as well. But it's starting with the PlayStation. And until that time, you'll still be able to purchase physical media all the way up until 2028. That's when they plan to put this policy into 100% effect. And from that point on, unless something changes, they will be printing no more physical media for their first-party games, and this would also include any and all physical third-party games as well.
Okay. So 7 days of blackout from the PSN network, essentially.
So yes.
So almost like a glorified DNS attack. Remember that one Christmas they blocked off? I'm just trying to think of that. So I'm like, okay, but a week.
They're considering it a boycott of
I
sorts.
get it, but a week. That's it.
See that was my initial argument from the get-go. 7 days, just an initial 7 days to push the point across. I agree with you. That was something I mentioned in my previous podcast, that just one blackout is not going to cut it. They're going to need to do multiple.
A week. That ain't doing you. That's like having a No Kings rally on no, that doesn't work. I don't know. You need longer than that. Just saying, 7 days. I don't think that's not even close. I mean, look, here's my only example is this, and I think about something like, say, the bus boycotts, you know, back in the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we think about that took a year and a half. So those bus boycotts. So in order to understand and really hit somebody's pocket, you gotta their pocket up. It ain't enough just to sit there and say 7 days. You know, you literally got to target it and like cut stuff off. 7 days ain't excuse me. It's just not going to do it. We got to do better. My bad.
See, it's I can't argue with that. I cannot argue with that at all, and I totally 100% agree with you. 7 days is just not going to cut it.
7 days. It's a finger tease. Sorry.
See, when this whole thing was announced, I thought hard about this, and I thought about this from two major perspectives. One being the customer side of it all, and the other being the corporate side of Sony.
Right.
They just pretty much turned around and said, we're not going to do this anymore. It's not financially viable to be doing this anymore, just for the sake of physical media. We're done.
I mean, they could always rescind. I mean, because you could always say, hey, this title demands said pressing. You could always say that.
Yeah, like a collector's edition. Yeah, that's definitely something that they could possibly work with a third-party vendor to fulfill orders like that with limited numbers. So yeah, that's definitely something.
Right. I mean, because one thing about policy is that you can change it. You know, it's not like it's written in stone. And if so, you can get another stone.
I agree.
I'm just saying.
All we know is what already has transpired. Sony was, I suppose Sony was kind enough to give us early notice that they were going to do this for 2028. I mean, they honestly could have just said this next summer, closer to the time when they actually plan to pull this trigger. But they're giving us a full year and some change to get used to this, to get used to the idea.
Hell yeah, because GTA is around the corner. And when that dropped, you know, we talked about that and about missing out on some nostalgia about waiting in line to get your copy at midnight. So instead, everybody's going to be waiting on the servers to get their download.
Now, here's an interesting fact. I think we might have missed on our last gathering about GTA. Even though it's going to make its street date launch, which is November the 19th, I believe. This game, GTA, will actually not have a physical release during launch. But the more interesting thing is people pre-ordered that game in record numbers.
Yeah,
the digital version
Absolutely.
of Grand Theft Auto 6. They did not let this no physical media for the game bother them. They went out and pre-ordered GTA 6 the moment it went live.
And to be frankly honest, I'm probably going to be one of those people too. Because I'm just curious about some of the in-game systems and how the public stuff works. I'm super curious. You know, it's going to get my money. That's a given. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be a technical marvel of sorts in terms of simulation and using that artificial intelligence protocols or however it's going to be used to make that work. I cannot wait to see that. So, you know, yeah, I get it. So
may I interject for a second?
Yeah, please.
Please, your thoughts.
So we have the supposed PlayStation Blackout coming in less than a month.
Right.
We also have the no disc, no buy crowd.
Huh.
Yet,
Okay.
what Weapon was just brought up was these record pre-order numbers for a game that has no physical edition
I know.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
So is it no disc, no buy except for GTA 6?
Pretty much.
Or is it no disc, no buy?
I don't know. I think because that's indie games. There's a ton of indie games that's never gonna get depressing. So what? Do you follow them? Do they fall under that category?
If you're gonna be about, about it,
then what you
then,
gonna be?
then be about
Right?
it.
Are you gonna be binary or are you gonna have conditions? Is what it sounds like.
Those have always been the exception this whole time, as far as indie games. We've come to accept that they're simply just going to be digital and have no physical edition, unless they came out and did a physical edition exception, like Cuphead. Cuphead had a physical edition later on. That was probably like a year later, maybe a year and a half later. There are physical editions for it now.
Our game comes out in a couple of weeks, and there's no way in the world we're going to have physical copies unless there's a demand for it. It's just not going to happen. I would love that, but to be frankly honest, this game would not be seeing the light of day if we had to do physical copies.
Now,
there's that too.
an indie studio might be given a pass just because of what you said.
Sure.
But Rockstar
Oh,
is
Rockstar sure as hell is, and you at least
there
said
ain't no indie studio. So I'm gonna ask again. So is this no disc, no buy, except for GTA 6, or is this no disc, no buy for everybody who's able to?
That sounds incomplete.
Because it sounds very
Sounds very case by case to me.
Yeah, very incomplete. I don't think that's a very good slogan to use. I mean, it sounds good, but I don't think it's effective.
that's the hashtag being thrown.
I know, because it
the
sounds
no disc,
good,
no
but
buy.
it's like, but in terms of context, it doesn't fit all context. It sounds good, but context of no disc, don't buy, then you start thinking about it like, you talking about everything, or you talking about the people that can afford it? And even then, there is a sector of us that's just like, nah, we're just digital. I mean, there's a whole generation that's just used to digital distribution, period.
If I would have guessed,
They don't even know what the manuals are like.
if I would have guessed, and I'm only guessing,
Product.
I think they are pertaining to. I think this is only really applying to publishers who normally would press a game.
Did we lose TV?
Yeah, that's because it went on. And Rockstar most definitely would fall into that
Oh, no
category.
doubt. That's true.
Yet,
Yeah, that's true.
what we have record pre-order numbers for that.
Oh,
I'm like, so the biggest target you could make the biggest splash
anomaly, though?
with this movement on. You're not sticking to your guns with.
Yeah, I got
And
rid.
that's the thing. That's the thing that's kind of having me
Well, for
looking
me,
at this whole PlayStation Blackout thing. Like, okay, so how many of y'all won't actually show up for this?
yeah. I mean, for me, it's like if this was Red Dead Redemption, or it's got to be one of those type of event-based games that can get away with it. Like our game couldn't get away with it. The average game couldn't get away with it. I'm not even sure Madden could get away with this type of thing. It couldn't. Not.
I think it could.
You think so?
Mhm.
I don't think Madden could. Madden is not GTA. In terms
No,
of like,
no, matter of fact, it's an annual.
Yeah.
It's an annual.
it's an annual.
It's almost like
there
a
is an
platform
annual
or something,
event to it. Yes, granted.
which a lot of money is tied in.
Sure, absolutely, because it's the NFL. But for me, when I think about games that are technically changed in terms of like going to be the zeitgeist for a minute, that's not Madden. That's going to be GTA. You know what I mean? Like GTA, like Madden will get its 2 weeks, and then you'll get the updates. And I haven't played Madden in ages, even though I'm rocking a Ravens jersey as we speak. But those type of games, they have their moment and then they go away, and then next it'll be 2K, NBA 2K. But something like GTA, that is a once in a full moon type of situation, because everybody buys that MFR, everybody. So so that's the one thing I say GTA is different in. I mean, like, you're going to get people that make very good money off of the content that they make and produce for GTA, based off of what they get for YouTube, to the point where YouTube might change their algorithms. That's so when I look at it that way, wow. You imagine where we was at before we started
all
this
that
shit?
does is prove my point. Like, that's the biggest target. That's the biggest target you could hit if you really want to make a statement.
Is who? I'm sorry. Please
GTA
clarify.
6.
Is what?
GTA 6.
What about it?
That's the biggest target that this movement could have hit if they really wanted to
Oh, I see.
make a statement and gain
It's
some
too late
attention.
though. Sorry, like it's gonna land it's gonna land like a dull fart when you got 230 million in pre-sales.
Yeah, see, that's something I also wanted to ask the both of you, as well as any one of our listeners that are listening. Would GTA 6, would GTA 6 be Rockstar's very first AAA game title that will not release with a physical release? Is GTA 6 that one title?
I think so.
Possibly.
Yeah, because the first game you've had in what, 12, 15 years? I think something like. When was Red Dead 2?
Well, I'm still legally bound to discuss my connections to anything Rockstar related. Yeah, I'm still under NDA, but
still,
yeah, I believe Red Dead Redemption 2. I was given a physical copy of that game, and I do believe that game came out around like 2018 or 2019.
Of Red Dead, sure. Yo, it's been that long, you still can't talk about it. That's amazing. I'm not saying you can't, because there's certain things I still can't talk about. I get it, but wow, okay.
Yeah, one of my good buddies, I'll call his name Critter. One of my good buddies who works in IT from my previous employer, he reminded me that I'm still under NDA, and there are stuff that I cannot discuss, and that's definitely one of the things I can't discuss. But I mean, I could talk about Hasbro Interactive all day long.
Hasbro is a very interesting situation. I can talk about that one,
along with a little bit of Lego, maybe just a little bit of Lego. Yeah, Lego Mindstorms. We did its customer support once upon a time back in the day, and just about every other game I can think of from Rockstar was a physical game, and that stuff dates back. I mean, the majority of the stuff dates back to the 360 and PS3 days, like games like Bully and that tabletop tennis game that they did. There's also the Warriors. I think the Warriors was the Warriors a PS2 game?
I believe GTA 6
that was when they had to be
is their
physical,
first
though. That was a different era.
physical release, at least at launch.
The game Manhunt. Yeah, all those games, they were all physical. I would say that most of the digital age of games had its heyday and at the start of the 8th generation. That'd be PS4 and Xbox One. It definitely started to make its biggest traction during that time. There were digital games to be had in the 7th generation, 360, PS3, but yeah, it was mainly the 8th generation consoles where even Phil Spencer came out and said that that was the hardest generation to lose. That was the worst generation for us to lose due to the rise of digital purchases.
People started establishing their digital libraries.
It's funny. For me, it started with the was the Wii U? I want to say the Wii. Because I think my first taste it might have been the Wii.
Gamers, customers, they were just lining up at their consoles, just buying digital left and right. They just prefer not to buy physical, go outside out in the cold and brave weather conditions just for a physical game. We'll just get it digitally and call it a day.
Yeah, that might have been my first dabble into like digital distribution, me being all right with it, I think.
I know personally, as far as the Wii, I also have the Wii U as well. I barely played it, but as far as the Wii, I did buy Super Mario World. No, I'm sorry. I bought Super Mario 64 through the Virtual Console. Yeah, I remember that.
I bought a few.
The Wii Shop, Wii Connect. Yeah, the Wii Connect now discontinued. Will those digital purchases from the Virtual Console, from the Wii, will they still work? I certainly hope so.
Yeah. Good question. I'm not sure. No. House of the Dragon Wisdom. Oh, my back. There goes. That's what happens. Sorry. There we go. Yeah.
But returning back to our main topic here, the main focus of today's podcast, the Blackout. This is going to be a thing, and I hope this is going to be a success.
Waste of time.
I mean, how do I say this without offending anybody? This whole Blackout thing, I mean,
Sometimes you gotta offend. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I have to speak my mind. Regardless. Me personally, I believe this is kind of a poorly orchestrated revolt just to get their attention, and the numbers are right now, as far as engagement, are not very high. If it's below 1 million contributors, it's below that, and I don't think it's enough to really even gather Sony's attention to even look their way during the time of this revolt. They're probably more than likely already prepared to weather this little storm of theirs and then get back to business as usual. I believe that Sony no longer recognize us, the hardcore gamers, as their core audience anymore. A lot of us have aged out of this hobby and have moved on, and they want new customers.
I see. I have a different take on it because the 85% of their sales are digital. 85%, that is a majority. 85%, you can't agree. 85% of people can't agree on which type of ice cream to get. You know what I'm saying? So when you think of it, that's not a trend. That's a decision that has been made and enforced. And the thing is that if they don't have to pay that patent per, system that goes out for their CD patent, DVD, whatever, disk drive patent, it's more money for them. And that bottom line with that $1,000 PS6. I'm sorry. To talk about that actually.
Yeah, segueing into, say, the PS6 or the next generation consoles in general. Pretty much the PS6, in my opinion, the PlayStation 6 most likely will be an all digital console once it comes out, once it debuts. I think they're going to introduce this hardware as all digital, and with the chance
they'll get you twice. They'll get you at the exclusivity of having to press a disc, plus paying a premium for that disc, and then also get you for paying for an overly inflated glorified disc drive. Yeah, like remember when we had the Sega drives and all that kind of stuff, or the 32X. Man, we used to plop it. You literally was plopping a cartridge set over top of a cartridge saying "power."
The Tower of Power.
Yeah, the Tower for the right. We was flexing. That's funny. Just as a precursor, one of the things we had to do for our games coming out recently, as of 1.5 years ago, if you were going to go out on PS5, you had to also. You could just get a PS5 dev kit, and you'd be good. You'd get the dev kit, and then you have the retail dev kit. So there's two different runs. So there's the one that we can't show a picture of, where they'll take our license, and then there's the one that looks like the market PS5, right? So it's kind of funny. The one that we can't show is the one that everybody says the PS5 should have looked like. So, which is kind of interesting. That said, this time, one of the tech certifications that you have to pass is that you have to be PS5 Pro compliant.
Yeah, I remember hearing something about that.
You have to be, meaning that you've got to buy a PS Pro dev kit. So even if your game doesn't use or support it, you still have to buy a said dev kit. Meaning you got to drop around $1,500 for that kit.
Wow, man.
Around that one. So no, around $1,200. Now the crazy thing about it is that we did that last week. I ordered it Monday. It was there Wednesday. So they've gotten a lot better with that. Their website in terms of development is still an absolute cluster block, but it is what it is. But my guys they're whiz people. They're absolutely incredible. So they're figuring it out. Yeah, but yeah, we'll have them on. Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
Yeah, this was something I also wanted to ask you or any other developer that happens to listen to this podcast. In regards to developers, were developers obligated to have to enhance their games to support the PS5 Pro with enhancements? Is that right?
Yeah, they're obligated. Yeah,
and that's just that's just so it can pass certification, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We're doing that now.
But my one question I was always curious about was just how enhanced does a PlayStation 5 Pro enhanced game need to be?
It doesn't. We're barely touching it.
Could it be as simple as flipping one or two switches and calling it a day?
Yep. We just have to show. We literally had to get it and say checkbox. That was it.
Go ahead and just enhance resolution, and that could be all. You can just call it a day.
I mean, are you under NDA
for that part?
To say that?
No, I can good with that part. I can say that.
From our perspective, the customers are expecting the full 9 yards. We're expecting the full 9 yards in regards to our enhanced games. We want full resolution, high performance, high levels of fidelity, ray tracing, and enhanced sound.
Path tracing too.
Yeah, path tracing, RTX. Yeah, I mean, sure, I get it. I mean, well, RTX is PS5 compliant anyway, but I mean, what, 2070 include 2070 equivalent of RTX
for PS5 Pro?
Yeah, well, PS5 Pro is obviously more. It should be 3080 type situation.
Maybe not that high. Maybe a 3060.
3060. 3060 is fair.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Okay, around that.
Certainly not.
I had one tech guy at our office try to tell me that's the equivalent of a 4090.
4090? No.
Yeah, I know. I wanted to. I was like, "Are you? Yeah, what are you smoking? What are you putting in your veins for you to even think that that's a thing, homie?"
In comparison to what? It's ray tracing?
No, well, period. Talking about the video card, the graphics card, and the PS5 is equivalent of 4090. I was out of your mind. Sorry. Yeah. Right. So we talking 24 gigs of video RAM in a 4090. Period. Just for the video.
The PS5 Pro has about, I believe it's 16 gigs of GDDR6 RAM, along with 2 additional gigs of GDDR5 RAM.
That high?
But it's all a shared pool of RAM to support the entire machine.
That's funny. We say it only. That's a funny ass shit.
Consoles, they both share just 16 gigs of GDDR6 RAM. Only just 16.
Wow, it's funny to me. I think about it sometimes. It's true. We say only. It's just what it is. You know, you adjust with the times, but it makes me also think how much bloat we got in these things. How much legacy code is going on where we need. That really makes me think. Why do we need all this space for some things?
Is the collection RAM being properly used by developers?
Hell no. Sorry. Absolutely not.
Be utilized, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think so.
Being utilized effectively enough.
I don't think so. What do you think, Sin?
I thought about this for a while, and it seems like every generation we run into the same wall. In the beginning, developers ask for more RAM. Yep. They give it more RAM, and still we get games that suffer performance issues. And so I've had no choice but to come to one conclusion. That's this: there's some people who just aren't smart optimizing enough.
Oh, they're not. They're absolutely. I agree.
There's folks out there who just aren't coding to the metal, and they're doing. I'd hate to say that they're just doing the bare minimum.
Yeah, well,
but they are. But I think what I think they're doing is they're depending a little too much on the middleware to do a lot of the work that they should be doing.
Yeah. I mean, well, I agree.
Like they want to do, but so much work, and then they want the RAM and the middleware to do the rest, with them having to barely do any fine tuning. And that's why I feel like early on in these past couple of generations, we've been getting games that have come out where performance has been questionable at best.
Would you say Cyberpunk is one of those?
I mean, for a lot of people, it was. It really wasn't for me, but it appears it might have been that way. That might be a special case because of how many platforms they were supporting simultaneously.
Yeah,
because they're not a small studio.
Yeah, well, yeah,
and that was a mighty, ambitious project.
Absolutely.
Which brings me to another point. It seems like every generation, this certain developers end up biting off more than they can chew with the scope of their games. I'm like, because you have this allotment of resources for this particular platform, it's like their ideas have expanded beyond the scope of what I feel like they can handle.
Well, Peter Molyneux was famous for that.
Peter did that game Black and White, right?
He did Black and White. He did the first Fable.
The Fables.
He was. I love ambition, but I'm also a fan of someone promising the framework of what they already have, not for what they think they're gonna have. It's like, oh, cool. Then you like 6 years later, you get the game. I'm like, I'm kind of tired of that.
I think some people might also felt the same about Starfield when you bring that in.
Can we talk? We can talk about that. We can talk a good 10 minutes about that, and I'll just rant. But we could talk about that one. Yeah,
that game promised a lot of promises.
You called that game fun? I'm sorry. But I wanted to work on that game so bad. This is not me being bitter that I didn't work on it. I'm actually kind of glad I didn't, because when I'm looking at it, it looks like. See, here's the problem. I played entirely too many Skyrim mods. I played them so much, and the thing
spoiled your experience.
It spoiled my experience because you can understand how the sausage is made, because you see everything. You see the gameplay setup. You see the extent to which that system can work. Like, oh, they tried to use, I can't name a particular system right now, but there's certain ones you're like, oh, looks like a takeoff of like one of the character developments, one of the world building setups, and it's like, you're looking at it and it feels so barren and bare minimum and desolate. And here I am, like 2 weeks in, I'm already looking for mods to try to make this thing like work for me, and like it just isn't. And then the thing for me was like the story felt like Skyrim. It felt like the story of Skyrim, especially after like, wait. So you mean to tell me I get superpowers with each artifact I find by? Oh, okay, I'm just Dovahkiin in space now, and that just didn't work for me. I was like, the development felt old, the execution felt old, the engine felt old, the art direction was on the mother money. That art direction is gorgeous. All right.
Yes.
It looked so good. The art direction, I'm gonna give it its props where it deserves it, but the gameplay was absolutely disappointing for me. I was like, and be frankly honest, Bethesda ain't Bethesda for me if it don't have some sort of RPG element within the game. So like when Fallout 4 came out and it had VATS, right? VATS is awesome. Why couldn't we have had a version of VATS in Starfield? And instead we went with straight up, we just gonna do run and gun. And not to say it was bad, it wasn't bad, it was quite good, but it was just everything else. There was nothing special about it as far as I'm concerned. So it's like, it wasn't like Bungie is incredible at gunplay handling, whereas like you try to play the same thing in Starfield, no, that felt like a Tonka toy compared to what Bungie does. So I was like, y'all just ran away from everything you did well. It's like somebody that like looks good in a certain pair of like of fashion, but they'd rather wear a muumuu instead. It just felt like they were just going through the motions, a little bit old. They weren't very excited about it, and it was just a great big disappointment.
And Starfield was in the works for how long?
For over a decade. What the hell? And then when we got it, it's like all these planets you can go to, but there's nothing on them. All the bases look the same. All the enemies are the same. The logic isn't that great. It just was like,
That is Todd Howard for you.
Is it all Todd Howard's fault though? I mean, he was running the shit. It was his baby.
It
was his baby. I wanted more for it. I definitely wanted more for it.
I enjoyed it from what I still go back to it from time to time, because I haven't closed out the campaign either. There's so many games.
I try. Well, yeah, I'm glad you said that. And that's the other thing, is like my time is only but so limited, and I was like, I got other shit I can play. Instead of just being disappointed and playing through it, I don't have to finish this. I was like, you know what? Let me play something else. I want to play Conan Exiles.
Starfield can go right into your backlog, just like everyone else. It certainly went into my backlog too.
Yeah, go to backlog, and like you said, and every now and then I'll get the itch to play it, and I'll put it in the mod, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's why I'm playing this.
I mean, at that point, for me to actually want to finish that game, if I don't want a game to feel like it's my job.
The game should not feel like a job. There you go. It shouldn't feel like a job.
I don't want it to feel like it's a job to me now to finish this game. That's a chore. That doesn't make the game fun. That makes me just want to force myself to finish the game just to say that I finished this game.
Like everyone, I'm glad you brought that up. when we, as a segue, not segue, deep, more like a tangent. Realism in graphics. Are we necessary? How necessary are we these days? Is it a deterrent? Does it get in the way, or do you pick and choose?
I would like a game to just be fun and it can be stylized.
It's stylized. Yeah, that'd be horrifying. Yeah, realistic looking Mario would be horrifying. I don't want to see that. Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah,
that honestly should probably be answered on a person by person basis. For me personally, I'm kind of down the middle. I enjoy a game that looks realistic, especially if it's a driving game. Love that. But also like our cartoony games too. Also like our stylized cartoon racers like Mario Kart. I think those are fun. I mean, those are just as equally fun as opposed to a Forza Motorsport or Forza Horizon. It's just as fun. And or it looks just as good. I mean, you don't really have super realistic textures for a game like Mario or Zelda.
Yeah, a realistic Mario is not gonna work. I mean, but here we go. Let's say they went with a Mario that had texture. So like the Goombas had like the Goombas had like fuzz, and the bombs look shiny, and the bricks look like brick. It's a stylized decision that, if it costs more on the production end, is not really going to be very viable. So I'm wondering, but it also, I think these days you get a little bit more leeway with that too, especially if you know how to manipulate your textures and your normals and all that good stuff.
Zelda is fantasy, but it's more realistic than your typical Mario. It probably would look very strange to have a realistic Mario. Right?
Yeah, but that's the thing, that Nintendo was not interested in that whatsoever, because they're a toy company. And their idea, their mindset is that of toys. It's like they're not tech people. They just happen to use the tech but they're toys. And so, for the very group that wants to, push everything to the limit, but Nintendo's like, that's not what they're about. They've never been about that. Even when they had, like, what was it? The GameCube was like the fastest thing. I didn't know that at the time. That was the fastest console that generation. Is that true?
Are you saying as far as performance?
It was GameCube, Xbox, and the PS3, and the GameCube for some reason was like, Resident Evil 4 was started on GameCube.
Yes.
Resident Evil 4, yes, it did. It was said, developers would say that its graphical performance is basically two GameCubes that were duct taped together to equal to the power of a Nintendo Wii.
You mentioned that's true. I remember that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
When we got to the generation of the Wii, this is when Nintendo made that fundamental change. We're no longer going to be concentrating on hard bleeding edge hardware,
which is how we got the Wii U.
Like, we want our games to be detailed. Well, we would like our games to be beautiful and detailed of that one generation of the. I think that was Generation 7. They're part of. They should have been part of Generation 7, the console Generation 7. But at that point, I think they've come to the reality that we just don't need our games to be using bleeding edge technology.
Would love a game. You know what? So since we're talking about this, I think it's a good segue for it. So when you think, remember the Capcom 5? Remember that? Beautiful Joe.
Yeah.
What else was on that?
I think Resident Evil was
4 was in there, right?
What was that one with the Project? The one with the girl in the shiny suit.
Oh, what was that?
Is that Project something?
I can't remember. Nevertheless, what I'm getting at is that those games. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't remember the name. I know exactly what you're talking about.
101, something like that.
Something. No, Wonderful 101 was one of them, but that wasn't it. My point is that when is the last time you got games like that were that different but coming from a same developer?
Oh, from the same publisher?
Same publisher, developer, or group. Clearly they're using the same engine, obviously, but they was like, you know what? Here's 5 games that's going to come out within the next 6 to 2 years of each other. 5.
Well, maybe Devolver might fall under that.
Yeah, but Devolver wasn't the same quality though. They weren't considered a AAA. Devolver. And I like Devolver, but they're more AA than, like, we're talking Capcom.
Yeah.
So when Capcom is like, we're going to do 5 new intellectual properties. that, and so what would allow them to do that? Costs, or being able to be cost efficient, meaning that they had a decent amount of planning in terms of how the project was going to be built and made, so like figuring out how the geometry of the concept of what the artwork and all that stuff was going to look like. All of that was laid out, well before, and then have an execution plan on, okay, this is how we're going to make these models, because I can guarantee you that, as soon as whoever was done on Beautiful Joe, they probably moved on to Resident Evil. They probably used it. It's not like there was like one and done. That was one of the things that they do well, is their artists are manipulating or moving their people around to different projects once it's done. Like, you think about it, like, if you make that one engine, why wouldn't I want to base another 3 or 4 games off of that? It's like, there's so many people, or so many times that you do a one and done, and it's like, wait a minute, you should make another 3 games off of that thing and give yourself more spins at the wheel. Yeah, but slower. When I said, like, when Capcom 5 got announced, it was like all those games are going to be released within 2 months of each other or something like that. Those are like, so it almost was like an event, So when each game came out, each one had a spotlight, but as a whole, it was like, oh, okay, that's it, for whatever reason. It was like, I would love to see something like that again. But nobody wants to take any risk anymore in terms of intellectual properties. But I don't know, maybe we're at a different, stage with a lot more indie groups, and with all this fallout that we getting from different groups that, we gonna get some more indie. That'd be good. I mean, not indie stuff, but more aggressive intellectual properties. Like, if Stellar Blade can get on the Switch 2, then what the hell, And it is, and it's coming. So, you're like, jiggle physics and all. So, hey, it's, it's there.
Project. Yeah. I think it was Project Eve.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I think it was called Project Eve back
Who's
that
the
1 year when it was,
who's the developer on that one?
The Korean developer.
It's a Korean developer. Okay.
It was originally concepted to be a multi-platform console game, at least between the PlayStation and the Xbox. I'm not entirely sure about the Switch, but Sony stepped forth and paid the money to make it an exclusive for at least 2 years, 2.5 years.
How's it end up on the Switch then?
Since that exclusivity deal has been expired or lifted, they're actually now porting it over to the Switch too. I think the exclusivity did go up on it, and Sony's pretty much said we're no longer paying for its exclusivity anymore. So if you want to put it on another console, feel free.
Yeah.
Just pretty much don't put it on Xbox.
And that's something.
Yeah, see that is. I'm glad you mentioned that. There was a question I meant to ask during our first gathering. I got sidetracked. So I want to ask you now. The more a realistic game appears to be designed to be, does that development team need to be bigger?
In my experience, yeah.
That's what I thought.
In my experience, the scope of it, yeah, because there's so many other variables you have to consider for more realistic it has to be, right? So
when you take in AI as a factor, as a development factor, can it cut into having to grow a development team along with the size of your realistic game?
Absolutely. When you look at what the Claude MCP protocol that works with Unreal Engine, you can pretty much develop a world in a day or two, right? Now, you obviously want to go in that world and fine tune it and move some things around and adjust it and make sure that, things are what they need to be. But the process in which to make that world a year ago is exponentially different now compared to what it is in like Unreal 5.8. Because now I can make a full-blown city in a day or two.
By yourself. Describe what a development environment would have to look like to build an equivalent of what AI can do in a day. How big that team would have to be, and how much time do you think it would take to match with the AI, what an AI tool can do?
Well, first you would have to lay it out. First foremost, you'd have to lay it out yourself. Like, you'd literally have to make the maps. You're a dungeon master at that point. You're laying out your map. You're laying out your landmarks and all that good stuff. Whereas if you're doing it in the Claude situation, you're typing in the prompt where specific things are. So let's say if you wanted like Manhattan, there's certain things you wanted to make specific. Obviously within that prompt, you'd have to be specified if you wanted to say Statue of Liberty or World Trade Center and in the vicinity of where they are and the things around them. It has an already idea of that. So it's going to go and reach out to a database of a 3D model file that has a scale version of Manhattan in it. Like we have one of those. Costs us a couple $100, but we've got one. And when we connected that to our framework, Claude was able to grab that and say, oh, okay, you want a level that happens to fight around Statue of Liberty. So it grabbed that part of the map, sectioned it off, and then we ran that part in Unreal Engine, and it literally gave us like the starting framework for it. But that was kind of easy because the geometry for that was like not that much. But let's say you want to go to like Lower Manhattan, the geometry count blows up because it's just that many more buildings, that many more individual parts. But even then, when it grabbed them, it was like, oh, it's just dragging and dropping stuff. But the thing about it is that it's more creative in that it can just generate a city on its own with streets and byways and all that kind of stuff, and it logically makes sense. So you don't necessarily have to use something that's already been replicated. You could give it a database, and I think we talked about this earlier. You can literally give it a database of buildings and streets and roads and say, make your city from these assets, and then that's what it'll make its city from.
But from a full scale team, what do you reckon it would take to emulate something like that, to build something like that Claude can do in such a short time? How long would a normal team take?
One person, it'll take it about 20 minutes. What, if you had a full scale team to do that? Oh, it would take months. Months. It would take months. Like, hold on a second. Well, okay. A better example would be the Unreal Engine. Was it New York City? I forget what city that was. The city project that they did about 2 years ago. It took them over 4 months to make that.
And that was a team?
But that was like a team of like 10 people or something like that, but even still, it's like, but that was using Unreal Engine tools, bleeding edge stuff, even new tech, and it still took them months, which would now can take them a day or actually a couple of minutes. In terms of implementing and then go in, by the end of the day, you've got your base city. Now, you still need to take that, give it to your team and evaluate it and make sure that everything where it needs to be, but it's getting more and more accurate, as we speak. So, will it help developing you? Yeah, absolutely. Well, you better learn it. If you don't know how to use it, it's going to be a problem.
That's actually what I do believe the corporations see from their end. They see savings in time with AI.
Yeah. And they're still trying to figure it out themselves.
I believe that they can save time and money by investing in AI now and run with it for the long run.
They figured that, but that's the thing. But they're getting rid of the wrong people, or they had a overflow of people to begin with. So like a gentleman came in and had an interview with us at the office this past week, and he was lamenting about the number of people that got let go of id Tech. And when I think about it doesn't need more than 50 people. For what it actually really does. It doesn't need hundreds of people. It needs hundreds of people if you got like 2-3 projects. But if you got the one thing that you don't need no on one game like they used to do.
All hands on deck on just one game.
Because your tech is the same. Your tech isn't going to change on that. That tech group is going to stick around. Your artists are going to stick around. If anything, they need shit to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, when I think about that group of 50, sure, you give me a group of 50, I can make a Doom product. Yeah, let's go. Yeah, I don't need 100 people for that type of stuff. Not anymore. It's like when I think about the project that we're pitching to Disney now and the number of people that are involved in making it, it makes my mouth drop because it's under 12.
But that's a game?
This is for a show. This is for an animated show. But for the pitch, it's less than 12 people. Easy. So, so when you look at how tools are being used, and here's the crazy thing about that, we're not using any AI for that part. These are just tools These are just the tools that we're grabbing off of Unreal Engine.
Not bad. That's how robust it is?
Yep. And no AI on any shots. I'll pull it when we're done. I'll show it to you.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't want to take too much time into this. I mean, we're coming up on almost a full hour here, and I just wanted to I just want to make sure that we all got our licks in on these hot topics.
Really, we never get over everything. We didn't even talk about the Evercade stuff or the small push for. I mean, people still do want physical. Like I got the Evercade, and it's been a freaking nut for me. I'm like, my collection is growing embarrassingly fast.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do our final closing thoughts on the matter of today's podcast, and we're just gonna go around this table to give each other our final thoughts on the matter. So, Walt, if you want to kick it off, let us know your final thoughts.
The Blackout's a waste of time. They blacked out the folks like they did in House of the Dragon last week. All them folks got murked like that. Yeah, I think I understand, but if you really want to do that to people, you gotta hit them in that pocket. And that 7 days is nice, but that's not gonna work. We need more. If you want real change, you're gonna have to really sacrifice for some things. And that's it. That's just it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna kind of reiterate what I was saying on the other episode. I do respect. I really, really like the spirit of what they're trying to do. I like the spirit of the movement. I'm just a little skeptical about how many participants are going to be taking part in this.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a wait and see approach.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And I'm starting to lean more towards your opinion from last week when you said something like, if they were so serious about this blackout, why do you gotta wait till the end of this month to do it? Why not just do it now?
Right. Yeah.
I'm gonna just do it now.
Yeah. What's that?
Now.
What's that organized? I'm gonna get some websites. They can use a force more powerful or something like that. Maybe they're gonna do that. I don't know.
I mean, it makes more sense to do it now. I mean, what do I need to wait for?
Right. We gotta wait 4 weeks.
Understand now.
If anything, turn into a revolving, turn into a more of a viral thing.
Yeah.
Where it starts and rolls on and keeps going. Because I like when I talk about that bus boycott, that's pretty much where that's how it started. Yeah.
And set an example to Sony that we're not going to take it. We're simply not going to take it. I don't know if you heard about this, Walt, but it turns out that Sony has also come forth and said that we're going to also roll out this other alternate policy if accounts have been offline for a certain amount of undisclosed time. I think it's supposed to be 3 years. Honestly, if your account has been inactive for a total of 3 years and some change, we will go in there on the back end and delete this
taking up server
inactive
space?
account, and that would include.
Wait. So if you're not on your shit and all of a sudden, so if you was in a, God forbid, a coma for 3 years and he would come back to play your I know this grimace hey, but you come back, right? And you say, play some PlayStation. You just got your fingers from being atrophied so you can hit the B button finally. And you go to hit that and you can't play your games because they took your because you was in a coma. God forbid. No, I would never. I'm just thinking, is that extreme? But
wasn't that one of the many random possible scenarios when it came in reference to the Xbox One when that was first introduced, that people were complaining with no internet connection, we won't be able to connect to the server to check in our games, and all of our games will no longer work. And they were throwing out obscure situations like, you have military officials on submarines.
They'd be like, bring it with you. What if
having their Xboxes is now useless because they can't connect to any outside internet connection.
Yeah, close network. That's right. Yeah.
Connect to Microsoft servers. Therefore, their games can't connect to Microsoft where they can't check in with Microsoft, and their games no longer work.
What if I was away, fighting crime for 3 years, or
If you're in that kind of scenario, you probably shouldn't even be bringing consoles with you. But I understand that people need entertainment no matter where their environment happens to be. So
everybody has an exception, I guess.
But I mean, I got a little sidetracked. Anyway, back to my closing arguments on this whole ordeal with non-physical and PlayStation Blackout. I do believe, and I'll say again, I could be wrong. to give early notice to a large corporation like Sony, you're just preparing them to weather the storm if you're gonna tell them this early in advance.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, they took us by surprise. You're not taking Sony by surprise here. They announced to be done tomorrow is what they really should have done. We're gonna formulate a blackout starting tomorrow, and we're all gonna stay blacked out and grow this movement until the stink gets high enough up into their high-rise offices and apartments. Until it gets that high that Sony actually takes notice, they're going to ignore this. They're simply going to ignore this whole movement for a PlayStation blackout. I just don't think it's going to do much of it. We'll have to see how this all rolls. You'll see. Until that time, I'd like to thank everybody. I'd like to thank Sinseers and you, Walt, for sparing the time on a grand Sunday evening. Thank you for sparing your time and patience to talk about this once more. And I really appreciate you guys' perspective on this whole ordeal. It's fun for us. It's fun for me. I'm sure it's fun for you. And we can definitely continue to do this again. So, on behalf of all of our listeners, thank you. Thank you once again for tuning in on this evening. Thanks for spending your time with us and listening to our thoughts. And we surely welcome you back. Please, as I always say, come back again. We most certainly will do this again.
Peace.